Diet and nutrition. What do I eat? What type of supplements can you take? What's the best way to gain muscle mass for this? Does this matter? Does that matter? What are the best foods to eat? What are the worst foods to eat? We're going to answer every single question, address every single issue right here, right now. Let's do it. Dre all day.
DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Welcome to the next installment of the Diet and Nutrition series here on this YouTube channel. A lot of you who are new, or maybe you're old, or you didn't know about the diet and nutrition videos I did before. I actually started doing a series of these back in 2013 and did, I think a couple of them was done in 2014 when I had changed around my entire eating style. Just to give y'all a little bit of background. Growing up and up to about 2013, I didn't have any type of eating lifestyle. I didn't care. I ate whatever I wanted to at any time. I didn't know or care about organic foods. I tried certain supplements and things like that, but I didn't do any research into them. I did research as far as to know what they were, but as far as different brands, different types, the way they were made, the type of ingredients that was in stuff, I didn't pay any attention to that. And I'm talking not only supplements, but actual regular food. I'm talking about the meat that I would eat, the stuff I would drink, the food that I would eat for snacks and for meals. I didn't care about any of that stuff. But what happened in 2013 is I started meeting, miraculously, not miraculous, that's not the best word, but coincidentally, I started meeting a bunch of people who had certain eating lifestyles. And when I say that, I mean people who were clean eating, vegans, vegetarians, and I just kept meeting these people all in the same period of time. So at one point, I was actually on a date with this woman, and she was a vegan. And I started asking her questions like, why are you vegan? Why did you become vegan? What got you into that? And I just asked her question after question after question, and she started giving me all this information. And one day she sent me an email with a bunch of information about these are the type of things you need to be eating, what you need to have in your meals. This is what's good about it. This is what's bad. And since you're an athlete, Dre, these are things that will apply to you as an athlete that can help you, and these are the things that you have been consuming that might be hurting you. So I started looking into all this information myself to make sure it was not just information someone was giving me, but make sure that it made sense. I had to vet the information to make sure that it made sense to me, which is a very important point all you need to remember for this video and this preface here. And then I started making some changes myself. So I got rid of all my Gatorades, I got rid of a whole bunch of packaged foods, I got rid of all my favorite cereals, my Frosted Flakes, my Fruit Loops, and we're going to get into all of that in this video, probably through the questions you asked and through the information that I'm going to share. Number one thing that all of you need to take from this video, and actually before I even get to that, what I started doing is making a series of these videos because in 2010, some people had always been asking me, Dre, what do you eat? Because they would look at my physique and they say, oh, you're in such great shape, you're an athlete. What kind of foods do you eat to stay in such great shape? And I would tell people, I made a video back then in 2010 where I said, I eat whatever I want. I don't think about it. I don't care. I just work out so hard that it doesn't even matter. And that was actually true back then. And then in 2013, somebody had posted a comment to a video and they said, Dre, they didn't know about the old video. So they said, Dre, what do you eat? And a few people who knew about the old video posted a link to the old video as a response to his comment. Like, Dre says he eats whatever he wants. But at that point, I had already started making changes. So what I said to myself was, okay, people don't know about these changes I made because I haven't told them. So I need to make a new video. And when I made that new video and started announcing things, it led to more videos. I think I made about 7 of these. This is probably number 8 or 9 in the series of diet and nutrition. I have an entire playlist of diet and nutrition videos here on this YouTube channel. So you go to my playlist on my channel, my main channel page, and you'll see that diet and nutrition playlist. And I will also refer you to the most important web page that will be referred to in this video is the diet and nutrition page, which is on my website, which is called DreAllDay.com. And I will put an annotation to that up here somewhere, and I'll probably also put it in the video description. But if you don't see it in any of those places, just go to my website, DreAllDay.com, click on the link that says guides, tips, and help. And under there, you'll see the diet and nutrition page. So anyway, the most important thing that everybody watching this video needs to take from this video, and please remember this above everything else that gets said in this vid, I am not a nutritionist. I am not a physical therapist. I'm not certified to tell anyone what to eat. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. any information that is shared in this video from me or from a comment that I read or from anything that I reference, do not take it at face value as absolute fact that you must follow. What you need to do is take any piece of information that is given to you, whether that's in this video, at your school, from your mom and your dad, from the dude on the corner, from anybody you ever meet in life, and make sure that information makes sense to you before you act on it. Don't ever take anyone's information. Don't accept anyone's information but your own. So if I give you something that you didn't know about previously, you go take that and you check it and make sure it makes sense to you before you just accept it as this is exactly what it is and this is exactly what I need to do. So everything I say here, you do not have to agree with it. You don't have to believe it. Actually, you shouldn't believe it. You need to go double check it and make sure it makes sense for you and your situation, because your body is not the same as anyone else's body who's watching this. So what I do might not be perfect for what you need to do. It just is what you need to do is not perfect for what I need to do. So you take this information for what it's worth, then you go double check it against your situation. And if it works for you, you use it. If it doesn't work for you, you don't use it. It's the exact same thing as I do in the basketball videos. If it works for you, great, go use it. If it doesn't, then you toss that aside and you do what works for you. So the first thing I need to do is give y'all an update on where I am as far as diet and nutrition goes. As I said, I started eating whatever I wanted. Then I changed. I actually became a vegetarian around this time 2 years ago in 2013. I was a vegetarian for about 6 months, and then at the end of the summer, that August, I went overseas to play ball, and I knew I wouldn't be able to control the food options as well over there. So I stopped being vegetarian and just ate freely, quote unquote, while I was over there, because I didn't have control over the food that much over there. I knew I wouldn't, and I didn't. So while I was over there, I was kind of just eating whatever. Then when I came back to the States, I started eating paleo. And paleo is basically the Paleolithic era eating of food, where you're basically eating meats, vegetables, and fruits, no packaged goods or anything like that. One thing that I will say is consistent through any of these food eating lifestyles, because they're not actually diets. I just use the word diet because most people understand what that means, but it's not a diet. A diet is temporary. A lifestyle is just the way that you live. So these are eating lifestyles, but I'll just use the word diet and lifestyle interchangeably. So I want to make sure people understand that. So I changed to the paleo diet, and paleo is meats, vegetables, and fruits. And I ate like that for a while until late in 2014. I was listening to this Tony Robbins audio tape. I think it's called The Ultimate Edge. And he basically included a series from where he was at one of his events. And he's talking about foods, and he starts to explain how eating animal products, whether that be cheese, whether that be meat, putting that stuff in your body slowly over time deteriorates your body. It puts acid into your body, because he was talking about the acid alkaline balance, and that's something that I'm going to get into just a little bit, because I don't know it well enough to explain it to you. But you can always, anything that I mention here, like I said, read up on this so you get the information. So he was talking about the acid alkaline balance, and he explained how not eating animal products and not eating animals themselves can help your acid alkaline balance, because acid, in short, breaks down your bones. And y'all ever notice an old person, how they kind of get shorter or shrink? That's because they have a lot of acid in their body. And that's not all from animal products, but animal products contribute in a very large percentage to putting acid in your body and putting greens, life into your body, plants, vegetables, and fruits. Those type of things reduce the acid in your body for the most part. But there's a whole lot of detail that goes into that, and you can read up on that on the diet and nutrition page of my website. It's not all information from me, because as I said, I'm no expert. So if it was just information from me, then the page would be worthless. What I did was grab a bunch of links. Anytime I read something that makes sense about the diet and nutrition of the body, especially for athletes, I'll post it on that page. So you go look at that page and you'll see the links. They're all categorized. I even have some videos up there about the way animals get slaughtered. They're very graphic videos, some videos from the guy named Dr. Oz, who's a very informed, and he's actually a clinically trained, certified physician who knows about food and the body. He's answering a lot of questions that get asked by normal people who have questions about, hey, what should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? What's good? What's bad? Why this? Why that? I have a few videos of him on there, and I have links to a bunch of information about the sugars you eat, the carbs you need in your body, what athletes can do, should do, might do, should not do. All of that's on that diet and nutrition page on my website. But again, we're going to cover a lot of that in this video. So where am I at right now? After like I said, I listened to that Tony Robbins thing. He talked about not eating meat. So I do not eat meat right now. I stopped eating animal products completely, but I still do eat cheese. So that's kind of like, I guess you would call that vegetarian. I still say vegan most of the time, but it's like a modified vegan. So I mean, it really ain't no such thing. If you ask somebody who's a vegan, hey, they're like, there ain't no such thing as a modified vegan, because people get, really zealous about that stuff. But anyway, I still do eat cheese. I don't eat meat. So right now I'm kind of vegetarian, vegan. I'll just say vegan, but I do still sometimes eat cheese. That's where I stand right now. I don't eat any meat products. I haven't eaten meat at all in 2015 so far this year, and I don't plan to. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna share with y'all a couple things that I consume, just so y'all understand where I'm at, just to give you a little basis. As far as drinking, y'all just see me drink this water. It is a smart water bottle, but this is water I just poured out of the tap after I drank the bottle. The only liquid I drink is water. I don't drink any juice. I don't drink any soda. I don't drink any sports drinks, no Gatorade, no nothing. I don't put anything in this. This is just straight regular water. I drink this when I'm working out. I drink this when I'm eating my meals. I drink this when I wake up in the morning. Nothing else do I drink but water. This is the only thing I drink. As far as snacks, one of my favorite snacks is almonds. These are Blue Diamond almonds. I get these from Target. These are lightly salted. I've been told that the best is to have no salt at all, but I like the flavor of the salt, so I still get the ones that are lightly salted. Then they got another one that's just salted, so I got even more salt, but the lightly salted is fine for me. This is one of my favorite snacks. And almonds are actually good for you. They're very high in fat. A lot of people, we used to think that any food that was high in fat was bad for you, until we found out that there are good fats and bad fats. So almonds actually have good fats in them. So almonds is one of my number one snacks. One of my other top snacks that I want some sweetness is raisins. And I think I talked about these in a previous video. So I eat these raisins. They are they have a lot of sugar in them. 29 grams of sugar per serving. And I read somewhere that a normal adult male needs like 75 grams or something of sugar per day. That's it. I know I eat more than that just in raisins alone sometimes. So I'm not perfect by any means as far as the way that I eat. So don't take everything that I'm doing as gospel, as you need to do exactly as I'm saying. I'll share what I do. Again, you take the information and you weigh it against your situation. Does it make sense or does it not make sense? So then you can figure what you need to do. And they're also organic raisins. I get these from Whole Foods. It's the 365 brand. The only reason I get these, the Sun-made ones, over these is because number one, you get way more raisins in this container, and it costs less than even this bag. This bag, you got 8 ounces of raisins, and this is like $4, and this is like $3.50, and you get 20 ounces. So it's almost triple the amount of product for less price. And even though I do most of my 95% of my grocery shopping at Whole Foods, I still will go to Target and get my raisins and get my almonds, because it's just more bang for the buck. So that's where I am as far as snacks. Now, as far as eating meals, I order my meals right now from a company called Fresh Meal Plan. They're in South Florida. Basically, they deliver me meals like 2 or 3, I think 3 times a week. They come and they bring food for like the next 2 or 3 days each time. I'm on the vegan plan, or it might be vegetarian plan. I don't even know which one, but it ain't no meat in it. That costs me each week. I pay about $130 for the meals, and if you weigh that out per meal, that's actually a really good price. If I was to go out and had to buy my own food, I would spend more money than that, especially when you're shopping at somewhere like Whole Foods. And then when you factor in the time of prepping the food and stuff that I don't have to do because I get the meals delivered to me, you can't even weigh that in dollars. Time is more valuable than money. So that's where I get my actual full meals from right now. I don't know where you live, but a lot of big metropolitan areas, there are companies that do meal delivery. So if you look at somewhere like LA, New York, even a Philly, I know down here in South Florida where I live, there are a bunch of different food options for getting deliveries. If you're not in that situation, or you're not in a place where you can get those, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not like a concierge service, but I'm just telling you what I do. Now, as far as supplements, there is one supplement I take. This supplement is the Magic Potion. I've never even talked about this on video. I might have mentioned it, but I'm going to tell you right now. This is MSM. M is in Massachusetts, S is in streets, M again is in Massachusetts. MSM stands for methyl sulfonyl methane. What exactly all that is, I don't even know, and I don't even need to know. I got this, actually a friend of mine told me about this about a year and a half ago. She said, because I was telling her that my body was starting to feel really stiff from working out so much, and she said, I meant to tell you, you need to get some MSM. And I was like, what is MSM? And she explained it a little bit to me what it is. Then I went online, took that information, I read up on it myself, and found out that MSM is basically a natural occurring, I don't know if it's an enzyme or a hormone, don't crucify me on that, I don't know which one it is, it might not be either one. It naturally occurs in the body, so basically taking this supplement gives you a little bit more of it in your body. That's what a supplement is. Supplement means extra. So you're not putting something in your body that doesn't already exist there. You're just giving your body a little bit more of it. So it's the same as any other supplement like protein. All those things already exist in your body. You're just giving your body more. So this MSM, what it does is kind of like, y'all ever use WD-40 oil? You got like something that's squeaky, a squeaky hinge or something like that. And you spray the WD-40 and then it stops squeaking and it starts moving very easily without, it gets all the rust off. That's what MSM does for your joints. So it gets your body moving very freely. It's kind of like putting oil on your joints, putting oil on the hinges of a door or something. Now it starts swinging very easily without rust, without making that squeaky noise. That's what it does for your body. And this stuff is like a magic potion. And once you start taking it every single day, you take it every day, even when you're not working out, because you want to keep the levels up in your body. So this stuff is excellent. Now here's the thing about MSM. There are a lot of places that have it, but not everybody has the actual pure level crystals. Because if you were able to see this, you probably can't see it too well on the camera. But this is pure crystal level MSM. I got some from Whole Foods once, and they had this powder, and it was whack. I don't know what that was the Whole Foods was selling, but they didn't have the pure stuff. They had like the packaged, the stuff that's made in bulk and shipped to all the Whole Foods across the country. No, you got to get the pure crystal. So if you want to get this one, because what this is like this big plastic bag. When I order this, I get basically 2 bags full of this. This bag, I've been taking MSM out of this. So this is not the full bag. This is after I've already been using it. You get basically 2 full bags of this. It comes in a container, but I get it shipped to me, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. You get 2 full bags of this. This will last me probably, let's say 2 to 3 months usually, depending on how much you take, and it comes with directions on how much to take. I get this from a place called the Compounding Apothecary, and they're based in Edmonds, Washington, and they ship it to me from Washington all the way down here to Florida. I pay, I believe it's $60 for the MSM, and then the shipping is like 15 bucks. So it's $75, and it is more than worth the cost. Now you athletes, if you're in your teens, you probably don't even need to be taking this yet, but I'm 33 years old. I need to be taking this. If you're an athlete, you're in your 30s and you work out every single day, I don't care what sport you play, this stuff right here is magic potion. It'll probably add years to your playing days. Whatever sport you play, whether you're a pro or you just like going to the gym, it'll add years to how long you can keep doing it. MSM from the Compounding Apothecary, and I'll put them up. The number is 425-672-9888, if y'all can see that. MSM, methyl sulfonyl methane, Compounding Apothecary. So if y'all call them, yeah, 60 bucks, as y'all can see on the label. You can't order it on the website. You have to actually call them and place your order, and they take your credit card and everything. They do it over the phone. So if you order and you call them and order, tell them Dre All Day sent you. They didn't ask me to do that, but I'm gonna tell y'all to tell them anyway. So if they get a bunch of people calling them, they know they got it from me. So anyway, that is my background. It took me 20 minutes to explain to y'all where I'm at. So what I'm gonna do now is answer all these questions that were asked in the video that I put out, where I was soliciting questions from all of you. What do you want to know about diet and nutrition? I will answer these to the best of my ability. If I don't have an answer, I will refer you to the guides and tips diet and nutrition page on my website, and we'll just go from there. If you have further questions and or comments or concerns, criticisms, you can leave those in the comments to this video. So now let's get right into it. Nadav asks, I'm not even going to go into the names of everybody here because it's not the same as the Q&A. So I'm going to just read the questions and just go right into it. All right. So the question is there a difference between what you should eat before and after basketball practice and before and after going to the gym to lift weights? Well, it's not really about should. That was the question. So it's not really about what you should eat. It's about what works for you. It's the same thing as I just explained earlier in the video. It's not any one thing that every basketball player should eat, or every athlete should eat, or every man or every woman should eat. You have to find what works best for you. What I find, I'll just answer this in my case, I like to put carbs in my body before a workout. So if I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat something like a banana. Bananas are high in carbs. They have sugar, and they also digest quickly and easily. They're not going to like come back up. You start running around too much once you start working out. So a banana is something that is easily and quickly digested. It has the carbs and it has the sugar, so it gives you that energy. So that's what I like to eat before a workout. Is there a difference between eating before lifting and eating before basketball? Not in my case, but again, you have to try different stuff to find out what works for you. The next question is, in your opinion, what's the best way to consume protein after a workout? Well, the best way, again, there's really no best way. You take what you want to take. Some people take protein supplements. I don't take any protein supplements at all. If you're going to take a protein supplement, you need to take it within, my experience, I say between 30 and 60 minutes from the end of that workout, when your muscles are screaming for protein because you just worked out. But the other way you can get protein is just eat food that has protein in it. Meat is very high in protein. Fish is high in protein. Tofu is something else that's high in protein. And there are other foods. You can look up a list of foods that are high in protein. I don't need to sit here and list them for you. The next question is, what are good foods to eat before a game? Well, the foods to eat before a game, again, another one of those things, is not any best food, because our stomachs are all different. Nobody has the exact same likes and dislikes when it comes to food, preferences when it comes to food. So you eat what gives you the feeling that you want. Some people like to eat candy before a game, like the guy from the Seahawks, Marshawn Lynch. He likes to eat Skittles before a game. There's some players who will eat a McDonald's meal before a game. There's some players who just drink water. Some players who don't want to put nothing in their body. And some people like me, I might just eat a banana and some almonds, maybe some raisins or something before a game. So you experiment with different things to find what works for you. The next question says, I've been trying to find some good vitamins to take. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Well, the question you need to ask yourself is, why are you taking vitamins? You don't take vitamins just because they're good. There's no such thing as a quote-unquote good vitamin. A vitamin serves a purpose. So first of all, you got to figure out, what is the purpose? What are you missing in your diet that you need to take a vitamin? And if there's something missing, then you find a corresponding vitamin that gives you what you're missing. But if you can't figure out what you're missing or know what you're missing, then you don't need to be taking vitamins. Next question says, how do I gain weight with a healthy diet? I'm 6'3", 140 pounds, and 16 years old. Well, the first question would be, how much weight are you looking to gain, and where do you want to gain that weight? There are two things you need to do. Anybody who wants to gain weight as an athlete, I'm guessing, is not unhealthy. Like, you don't want to get fat, so you want to put on some lean muscle mass. Two things you need to do. Number one, you need to take in more food than you're taking in now, because whatever you're taking in now has you at the weight that you're at. So if you want more weight, you need to put more in your body. And number two, you need to lift weights. You need to strength train. Now, I do have a strength training program called the Position of Power that is available over at hoophandbook.com. That will help you with the strength training portion. As far as the consuming portion, you need to take in more food than you're taking in now if you want to add weight, because the amount that you've been eating isn't doing it. So you need to eat more. The next question, it says, have you heard of the concept of flexible dieting? I think you will really benefit from it. They're saying they think I would benefit from it, because you can still eat your favorite foods and lose or maintain weight with a healthy body. Well, I appreciate the suggestion. I have heard of flexible dieting. I don't know that much about it. Right now, I'm pretty good with where I'm at as far as with the modified vegan diet, we'll call it that I'm on diet. Again, that we'll call it right now. As far as flexible dieting goes, I know a couple people who do flexible dieting, but I am by no means an expert on it. I don't know enough about it to tell any of you anything else besides just reading that question, so nothing else I can say. Next question says, how many calories do you consume in a day? I don't know how many calories I consume in a day. I do not count calories. I don't count any of the nutrition information on foods or anything like that. I don't add them up each day. I know some people do that, but I don't, and that's what works for me. Next question. What kind of foods should basketball athletes eat in order to maintain and fuel your body for consistency? So it was a two-part question. Just to answer the first question, what kind of foods should you eat to maintain and fuel your body for consistency? Well, what do you want consistency in? You had to be specific kind of with these questions. If you want to be specific, if you want to be consistent with the fuel that's in your body, then you need to, first of all, you got to experiment with the type of foods that you're eating, because we don't all like the same foods. Like I said, I like bananas. Like somebody watching this video, you might be allergic to bananas, and you want to have carbs, you want to have energy in your body, so you might have to choose a different food, like an apple or pasta, but you might not eat pasta. You might not eat fruits. So you had to find, first of all, what it is you want, and then find the foods that work for you, because we don't all like the exact same foods. Because if everybody just ate the exact same way, then it'd just be like an assembly line. We'd all eat the exact same stuff, but everybody has a different tastes and different preferences. It has nothing to do with performance. It's just about what we like to eat. So if you want to eat certain foods in order to be consistent, and actually to address this question, there are no foods that basketball athletes should eat, because you're basically putting all basketball players in one box and saying they should all eat the same thing. That's completely false. So it's more for you. Any one of you asking this question, you're speaking for yourself. You're not speaking for all basketball players. And when I'm answering these questions, I'm not speaking for all athletes. I'm not speaking for all people. I'm speaking for what I do. And with that information, hopefully you're able to make that work for you. So there is no certain foods that all basketball athletes should eat at all. The one thing that every athlete should consume is water. That's it. Anything else, everything else is flexible based on taste, based on your lifestyle, based on, you might have you might have an allergic reaction to certain foods. So there are no foods that are required for everybody, none at all. And he also says he's been suffering from inflammation in his heels because he's been overworking. Are there any foods to eat to recover fast? Well, food is not going to make you recover from inflammation in your heels. There may be some foods that help relieve inflammation. Now, I am not an expert on that. So if there are, all you had to do is use a simple Google search, foods to relieve inflammation. You look that up and it'll tell you. If you've been overworking, it's not eating food that's going to solve that. It's working a little bit less. Since you're overworking, by your definition, over means too much. So you need to do a little bit less so that you stop having that inflammation in your heel. That doesn't have anything to do with food. The next question says, do you need to eat fruits? When I eat healthy, they say I eat carrots, broccoli, spinach, chard, and kale with rice or pasta because I'm allergic to fruit. So perfect timing for what I just said. Not everyone eats fruits. So no, you do not have to eat fruits at all, which is what I had just said, and then his question comes up. Not everybody needs to eat the same things. This person, they eat a lot of vegetables, which is great. Vegetables are really good for you. They're much lower in sugar than the majority of fruits. So vegetables actually are the number one best food any person could eat. But of course, we don't all eat vegetables because we don't all like the taste, and we all also have that need for that, what's the word? I can't remember the word I'm looking for, but we all had a need for the sugar, of course, and we all want I can't think of the word. If I think of it later, I'll tell you. So to answer that question, no, you do not have to eat fruits. If you're allergic to it, you're not going to eat it anyway. Why would you eat something that's going to make you have an allergic reaction? Nobody's going to do that. The next question says, what's growth and he said, what high protein foods should I eat? Should I eat and should I drink protein shakes? All right, let me try to decipher this question. He said, what high protein foods should I eat and should I drink protein shakes? He says he hasn't fully grown, he's only 15. All right, so you're 15 years old, high protein foods, and should you drink protein shakes? Well, there's no shoulds to this. Let me make that clear, because I get a lot of should questions from young athletes. There are no should questions, and I know this kind of frustrates some people because a lot of people want somebody to tell them exactly what to do. But with diet and nutrition, it can work like that if you're talking to a nutritionist or a dietitian, and I am neither. So I'm not going to mislead you all by giving you information as if I know it perfectly, because I don't, and that's not my profession. What I will tell you is what I know, and I can tell you whether you should or need to do something. And most of these should questions are not not good questions, because you're asking what should you do, and what really is what could you do, what can you do, what are the options available to you. And at some point, each one of you has to make a decision about what foods you're eating. None of you are being forced to eat anything. You're making a choice every time you eat. So you make these decisions about what you're putting in your body, because it has a very strong effect on how you're going to perform and just how you're going to live as a human being. Forget sports. So this question is high protein foods. All you had to do to find out about high protein foods is Google it. And you can also go to the diet and nutrition page on my site, where I have a list of high protein foods linked on that page. And should you drink protein shakes if you haven't fully grown? Well, the question is, why would you be drinking it? So it's not a question of should you eat or drink something. First question is why? What is it that you're looking for? Now, once you know what you're looking for, then you can work backwards and figure out what you need to put in your body to get there. It's not about just doing something just to be doing it. It's about why do you want it? The next question says, do you have protein with every meal? All right, so he has a bunch of questions. First is, do I have protein with every meal? The answer is yes. Do I carb cycle? I don't even know what that is, so the answer is no. Do I have a cheat day? No, I don't really do cheat days. I know people talk about cheat days. I don't really have cheat days. I don't have all right, so if somebody gives me a cake, so I say, all right, well, this cake is great, but it's Tuesday and my cheat day is Friday, so I'm not going to eat it until Friday. And then Friday, I'm going to eat the whole cake, and then Saturday, I'm back to normal. I don't do that. If I want to have a slice of cake on Tuesday, then damn it, I'm going to just eat the cake on Tuesday. And I might have another slice on Wednesday, another one on Thursday, and then I might go a month without eating any cake. So I don't have cheat days or cheat meals. I don't do that either. I don't have any designated cheat anything. And the next question, do I eat carbs before or after I lift? I eat carbs both. I'll eat carbs before and I'll eat carbs after. Again, I don't really measure the amount of carbs or the amount of fat or the amount of protein every day, the number of grams. I don't do all that measurement stuff. I know some people do. I do not. Next, it says, how much sleep do you get? Is it a strict number? I know athletes need more sleep. I sleep probably about 8 hours a day. And the next question says, do you work out and play ball every day, or do you work out and play 6 days a week? Well, he's kind of giving me, Tony Robbins calls that a double bind. He's giving me two options when there's way more than two options. It's 7 days in a week, so why do I only get the 7 and 6 day option? But I work out pretty much every day. Most of the time 7 days, maybe sometimes 6 days, maybe even sometimes 5. Next question. All right, so the first question says, in your opinion, is counting your macros, how important is counting your macros to working out? I learned a lot about what to eat, what not to eat, the benefits of certain foods over the past few months. He says he knows he eats healthy, along with a balanced diet, but he never bothered to calculate every macro because it's too much of a nuisance. Is he making a mistake? Well, no, I don't think you're making a mistake. At the same time, is a question of what is it, why would you count your macros? What is it you're going to gain from it? If you know what your outcome is, then you can measure every single action, what I can do, what I should do, what I will do, what I won't do against the outcome. So it's not about just doing something because you heard about it or because somebody else did it or because some famous person you like is doing it. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean you need to be doing it. First of all, why would you do it? Don't do something just because somebody else is doing it, because somebody else said it. Do it because it's going to help you get to where you want to go, which might not be the same place that somebody else is trying to go. So do I count macros? No, I do not. And then he says, I know you're not a big fan of coffee, but why? Is it because you don't like it, or you feel you don't need it, or because it has negative effects? Well, I just don't like coffee. I don't have any need for coffee. I don't drink coffee. And that's it. Next question. Question is, what type of foods will help me recover faster after a good workout? Also, speaking of recovery, what supplement will work for good recovery? Well, I also already addressed the recovery thing with the MSM. I think that's a very good supplement for greasing up, quote unquote, greasing up the joints. As far as foods to recover faster after a good workout, well, it depends on how fast you're recovering now and what type of foods you're already eating. Because I might tell you to eat something that you're already eating, then it wouldn't be useful to you. And I'll also, even if you were to tell me what foods you're already eating, I'm not an expert on a food that would be better than that, because again, I'm not a nutritionist. But what I will tell you is what my friend told me a couple years ago, is that every meal you eat should have a protein, a carb, and a fat. Now, how much of each one, I'm not an expert on that either, but again, go to the guides and tips page the diet and nutrition page on my website, which is within the guides and tips page, and there are guides on that, how much of each, what you need to have in each meal, and what foods fall into each category, so you know exactly what it is when you're putting your meals together. All right, so I got something from this one, this one, and this one, I'm good, at least based on that information. The next question says, do you write down everything you eat, such as keeping a food journal? We've already addressed that. No, I do not. Do I take fish oil? I have in the past, but as of right now, I do not take any fish oil, but I've heard that fish oil is a good supplement. Of course, I've heard it because I have taken it before. So fish oil, I have heard, is a good supplement because it's high in omega-3s. And what omega-3s do, I don't even remember. Don't ask me. But again, everything that I mentioned in this video, you can find out more about with a simple Google search. And if you're watching this, that means you got internet access, so you are responsible for getting the proper information. And the last question says, how long do you eat before a game? An hour and a half, 15 minutes before the game, etc., etc. Well, it depends on what I'm eating. If you're referring to an actual meal, if I'm going to play in a game, let's say at 6 o'clock, the last meal I'm going to eat is probably going to be around 3 o'clock. If I'm going to eat anything between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, it'll be something small and quickly digestible, i.e. a banana, an apple, something like that. The next question. This person says, if I'm still hungry after dinner, is it okay to eat fruit or a small snack around 8 o'clock? Thanks, Dre. I love your videos. Well, I don't know about that. I won't address the 8 o'clock part because that depends on what time you eat dinner, what time you're going to bed, etc., etc. But if you're hungry after dinner, is it okay to eat a small snack? Sure. Again, I don't have any baseline to measure that against. Why would it matter if you ate a small snack? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain weight? Are you going to bed at a certain time? Are you getting up at a certain time? What is your goal? Based on that sentence, your question is really, I can't really answer it because you're not giving me a goal. You could do anything you want if there's no goal. So first of all, when we know what the goal is, then we can work backwards and measure every action against the goal. So I don't know what his is, so I really can't tell you if something's good or bad because we have no aim to focus on. The next question says, do you eat Subway and is coconut water good for your body? Well, Subway being a sandwich place, I think I had a Subway sandwich maybe like 4 months ago once, but other than that, no. And is coconut water good for your body? There's a big debate going on about coconut water right now. There are people who are strongly for it and they say coconut water has all these positive effects. And there are other people who say that's bullshit. Coconut water is just basic water. There's nothing special about it at all. Some people think it has certain levels of electrolytes that regular water doesn't have. I don't know. I've drank some coconut water. It was okay. I didn't really like it like that. I didn't find it worth the investment to keep buying it when I could just get regular water straight out the tap and it don't cost me anything extra than a water bill. So is it good for you? There are a lot of people who say yes. There are a lot of people who say no. What I would suggest you do is do your research online and come to your own conclusion. I can't really tell you whether it's good or bad. Next question. He says, sometimes the muscle on the outside of my shin becomes sore on my right leg. It will be on the left side. Sometimes the muscle on his left shin gets sore. Sometimes on the right shin it gets sore. It makes it painful to run. He stretches before the games. Is there anything he can possibly do that will heal muscle soreness quickly? Well, that doesn't have anything to do with diet and nutrition, but since I read it already, I'll answer it. I have no idea why that would happen. I'm not a doctor. I have 0% information for you. What you need to do is go see a doctor. If you really have no idea, go see a doctor. Next question. It says, how much water do you drink in a day and how many cheat days do you do? And how do I eat healthy on a budget? How much water do I drink in a day? I don't measure. I don't measure how much of anything. By drinking water, here's the easy litmus test for how much liquid, actually not liquid fluid, but water you have in your body. Especially for men. I don't know how women can check, but men, when you urinate, if your piss is clear, then you have, I like my piss to be clear. If I piss and it's clear, then that means I got a good amount of water in my body. If it's dark and yellow, then that means I haven't drank enough water, and I go drink like a whole bottle of water, like one of these bottles immediately. This Smart Water bottle, I believe, is 33 ounces. 1 quart, 1.8 fluid ounces / 1 liter. This is 1 liter of water. So I'll drink one of these. I'll just shotgun the whole thing. And I do, first thing in the morning, I drink this whole bottle. And What else did he ask? He says, how do I eat healthy on a budget? Well, first of all, it depends on what the budget is. Second of all, to eat healthy on a budget, a basic rule of thumb is to eat less. You don't need to eat more, you need to eat less. And most of the time when we're hungry, I've learned, I heard a lot of people whose opinions I trust say this, is it's not always hunger. A lot of times it's thirst. We're thirsty, but we take it as hunger, and then we eat food when what our body really wants is water. And a lot of times if you drink water, the hunger will go away because you just filled your stomach. So I would say you need to eat less, and then the things that you do eat things that are good for you. And again, a lot of you understand without being told, without having to read a book or watch a video, what's good for you and what's not. Everybody here knows that a plate of vegetables, is more healthy for you than a McDonald's extra value meal. You don't need nobody to tell you that. You know that eating an apple is better than eating some Oreos. But we make decisions every single time we choose to eat something. We're making a decision. So you know what's good and what's not. You don't really need to be told. For 95% of foods, you don't need to be told what's better than something else. You just have to make better decisions. Next question. It says, what is the best food, drink, or smoothie to eat after a workout? There is no best. You have to first of all ask yourself, what is your goal? What is your purpose of eating or drinking something after a workout? Once you know that, then you work backwards and figure out what's the best way to get there. Next question. It says, what do you usually eat for your meals throughout the day? Well, I've already addressed that. Next, is it really worth it to get whey protein? Well, again, worth it for what? Why are you getting it? What is your purpose of getting whey protein? If you know what your purpose is, then it'll be easy to answer that question. But I don't know your purpose because you didn't state it in your question, so I can't answer. And then he says, I try to eat stuff like bananas or peanut butter to work the same. Well, I think you should probably look up what bananas or peanut butter have in them and also what whey protein has in it, and then you will know if they do the same thing, but I highly doubt that they do. That's just my uneducated opinion, that they don't do the exact same things. If they did, there would be no need for whey protein, right? Next question says, if you eat bad food, then work out. Does it hurt your workout, such as your stamina, etc.? Well, I don't know. Just think about this. Let's just think about this from a logical standpoint. If you were to eat something bad food, by the way he said it, if you eat something that you consider bad, how could it possibly produce a positive result? So just your question alone, you're already answering your question with your question. If you eat something that you consider to be bad, then how is it going to give you something good? If you eat something that you consider to be good, then it'll probably get you a better result. Now, the thing that deceives a lot of people when it comes to diet and nutrition is that eating something bad is not going to immediately, the effects are not going to show on you immediately. It wears on you gradually. Just like if any of you ever heard anything research on smoking, every time someone smokes a cigarette, it takes 6 minutes off their life. So if someone opens a pack of cigarettes and smokes 2, that means they just took 12 minutes off their life. But that 12 minutes is not going to get shaved off until they're in their 60s, 30 years from now, whatever age that they are. So there's no immediate effect. They don't drop dead on the spot. They don't come up with cancer on the spot. It happens slowly, which is how a lot of people end up killing themselves slowly, because they don't see the effects of the negative things they're doing. It's the exact same thing with food. How somebody could just eat bad food for years and years and years and be fine, but then when they get to, let's say, 50 years old, they have a heart attack and they die. And people say, oh, what did he do to have that heart attack right now? It's not something he did right now. It's what he was eating when he was 25, and then 27, and then 34, and then 45. All of those things added up over time. So it's not any one immediate effect that's going to happen. Like if you're driving your car and you do something crazy in the car, like switching lanes without signaling, you might get in an accident and somebody might die or get seriously injured and your car gets wrecked. There's an immediate repercussion for that bad decision. But if you go eat an extra value meal and the biggest fries and the biggest soda you can get, and you just eat the whole thing, there's no immediate payback for that. But over the years, that's going to catch up to you. So that's the thing with food, that people slowly kill themselves because they don't have any immediate repercussions for bad decisions. Next question. He says, what food or any type of liquids should I eat if I'm trying to get more muscular for basketball? He's 15 years old, he's about 6'3", he's very skinny. What type of food should he eat before, after workouts or games? Okay, so we're getting a lot of the same type of questions. If you want to get more muscular for basketball, you don't need to eat any certain types of food. What you need to do if you want to gain muscle mass is eat more than you're eating now. Again, you know the difference between a good food and a bad food. You know vegetables are better than McDonald's. And number 2, you need to strength train. That's it. Next. Someone said he thinks he just saw me on a Miami Heat sideline. I don't know when he posted this comment. I don't know. Maybe he saw me at a game. I don't know. Next question. It says, is oatmeal healthy for energy or no? Okay, well, you're asking 2 different questions at the same time. Is it healthy and is it good for energy? Well, first of all, what do you consider healthy? Because oatmeal actually is a food that taken into the body is very acidic. I actually read about that because I was about to buy some oatmeal. I was in Whole Foods looking at the oatmeal. Then I looked it up on the acidic acid alkaline chart. And I saw the oatmeal is very high acidically, so I didn't get the oatmeal. But I did used to eat oatmeal all the time. So first of all, you had to ask yourself, what do you consider healthy? What is your healthy, non-healthy scale? Does acidic matter? Does carbs matter? Does fat matter? Does protein matter? What is it you're basing it on? When you say the word healthy, healthy is such a vague term because there's so many different ways you can measure that. So what is it you consider healthy? And the next part is it good for energy? Sure, oatmeal is high in carbs. So carbs are energy food. So I would say for energy, oatmeal is good. Now, is it healthy? Again, it depends on what you're weighing it against. Next. It says, if you're a teenager and you're active in basketball every single day, is it healthy and you're really healthy and you get lots of exercise? Is it okay to eat pretty much whatever you want as long as you can work it off? Well, that's a loaded question because healthy is such a vague term. Anybody, you ask 10 different people what the definition of healthy is, you're going to get 10 different answers, right? If I ask somebody what's a left-hand turn, there's only one right answer to that. As far as being healthy, if you can work off anything that you eat, let me ask a question. Would you consider if somebody ate vegetables and fruits all day and then another person ate McDonald's all day, but both people were active in working out and exercising all day long, over the next 2-3 days, you're probably not going to see much of a difference. But over the next 20-30 years, the person who's been eating the vegetables and fruits is probably going to be a lot healthier and they're probably going to live a lot longer than the person who's been eating McDonald's. Because like I said, it slowly breaks you down. So yes, you can eat whatever you want, whether you're active or not, because there's no immediate repercussions most of the time. 99.9% of the things you eat, you're not going to have any immediate negative impact, but eventually you're breaking your body down over time, which is how a lot of people, like I said, eat themselves to death. The next question says, is it harder to put on fat and calories by eating before a workout or after? So here we go with another one of these relative words, as in harder. Well, harder to put on fat. I don't think anybody aims to put on fat or calories. So he said put on fat and calories. Maybe you might be talking about putting on muscle, but that's not what he says. I have not heard of a person who was aiming to put on fat or calories. Next question. He says, I'm 5'7", 130 pounds. I want to put on muscle mass. What should I eat or drink that can help me gain muscle mass? And he says he saw an athlete taking a shot of mustard before a game. What does mustard do for the body? Well, to answer that second question, I've never heard of somebody taking a shot of mustard before a game. So what you should do is go find that guy and ask him why he was taking it. Next question, and his other question was, what can I eat or drink that can help him gain muscle mass? Again, we've addressed this. Eat more than you're eating now. You know what good foods and bad foods are, but using your common sense, you have it. And the other thing is strength train. Next question says, what is the best diet to use for athletes? There is no best diet. I know great athletes who eat paleo. I know great athletes who are vegetarian. I know greats who are vegan. I know greats who eat clean. I know great athletes who eat McDonald's. So there is no best diet. You have to find out what works best for you. Next, what are some good healthy drinks that you can drink? Water is the healthiest drink you can drink. Next, what food can you suggest for growing taller? I know nutrition is a big factor for maximizing growth. There are no foods that will make you grow taller. If there was a food that can make people grow taller, we would all be eating it in a crazy abundance and we would all be 10 feet tall. There is no food that will make you grow taller. None. Next. This question is, I'm a junior in high school. I'm 5 feet 11 inches tall. I weigh about 170 to 180 pounds. He tried out for the basketball team, he didn't make it. He thinks it's because he's too slow, he doesn't have enough stamina. Okay? He believes that it's partly due to his eating habits. He loves foods like pizza, fried chicken, chocolate, and ice cream. Not only that, but when he eats it, he eats a lot of it. Okay? He doesn't have a diet to follow, so to help him lose fat that he's putting on. He has excess fat on his chest and stomach. He wants to lose it so he can become more toned and basically be in shape. Okay. He knows that there are foods that he should eat and foods he should stay away from, but he's kind of ignorant on which is which. Any advice on how he should eat and exercise if he wants to lose overall body fat? Well, first of all, I believe that you are incorrect. I don't think you're being truthful here. You know which foods you should eat and which foods you shouldn't eat, because in your question, you say you eat pizza, fried chicken, chocolate, and ice cream. Now, if I offered you $1 million to tell me, are those foods good for you or bad for you? And I say, if you get this right, you get the $1 million. And if you get it wrong, you get nothing. You would answer that question correctly, and it would take you less than 5 seconds to think about it. You know that pizza, fried chicken, chocolate, and ice cream are not helping you. You already know that. So you're not ignorant at all. You know exactly what you're doing. You're choosing to eat those foods, and that's why you mention them in your comments. You know that vegetables and fruits and drinking water are better than eating fried chicken, chocolate, ice cream, and pizza. So please don't tell me that you don't know. You definitely know. So all you need to do is stop acting like you don't know. Stop feigning ignorance, which is what you're doing here. I don't think you actually believe that. I think you just wrote it there, but you know. Stop feigning as if you don't know and start acting like you know. How many of y'all parents ever say act like you know? All right, so you already know. So now why don't you start behaving as if you do? So instead of eating things that you know are making you worse, eat things that will make you better. So the word we use for that, even though I know you love pizza, fried chicken, ice cream, chocolate, I love it too. Everybody loves it. But guess what? If you want to be an athlete, there are certain sacrifices you need to make. And the word we use for that is discipline. Next question. Tough Tanny, he says, because a few people responded to this. He says, in my opinion, this diet and nutrition stuff is a waste of money. Like, I know some guys in Chicago who don't have money to buy quote unquote good food, but they can still ball at a high level. All that really matters is eating healthy most of the days in a week. Well, Tough Tanny, no, you are 1000% incorrect. And first of all, to dissect your question, he says he thinks it's a waste of money. Well, the first thing here is, if you think it's a waste of money, then that's fine. You can do whatever you wish, but that doesn't mean that anybody else needs to follow your opinion. If that's your opinion and that's what you want to do, you go ahead and do it. Now, the second thing is, he says he knows guys in Chicago who don't have money to buy good food, but they can still ball at a high level. Well, let's think about that. Chicago is one city, and how many guys you're referring to that you know? Let's say you know 10 people in Chicago. There are how many billions of people in the world? That's less than 1/10 of 1% of all the people alive in the world you're using as a reference to eating bad foods and still performing at a high level. So that's not a very good backup to your statement at all. That makes no sense. If you were to put that in a school essay, or if you were to give a speech in school or class, you get an F for even using that as a supporting statement. And then he says they can still ball at a high level. Well, it depends on what you consider a high level. Now, a high level is, again, a very relative term. High is relative to the person who's saying it. So first of all, depending on what level you play at, anybody above that is high and anybody below that is low. But somebody else might look at you and say you're already at a low level. So somebody who's twice as good as you is still a bum because they're already higher than you. But again, I don't know you, but again, like I said, this is a very relative term to say people ball at a high level. And the third thing is, he says all that matters is eating healthy most of the days in a week. Well, there are only 7 days in a week. Why would you eat healthy some of them and not eat healthy the other days? And again, eating healthy, again, is another relative word. Healthy is relative to what someone considers to be healthy, because there are some people who say eating paleo is healthy when you eat meat, fruits, and vegetables. Another person says eating meat is completely terrible, you're killing yourself, you need to be vegan and not eat any animal products at all. So healthy depends on who's doing the talking. There is no right or wrong. It's all based on people's opinions. And the last part is, like I said at the beginning, if that's your opinion, that's fine, but nobody else has to buy your opinion unless you can stand up and show yourself and say, I'm proof positive that doing this thing exactly got this result. So unless you're willing to stand up and say that, look at me, not look at some guys in Chicago. Not look at some other people on TV, not look at somebody on YouTube, but say, this is what I did, and these are the things that worked, then nobody's really gonna buy that opinion. You're referencing other people. Well, what do you do? If your information is the best information, you had to put yourself out there to be scrutinized, and most people are not willing to do that, which is why they reference other people when they say things. Next question. It says, how can I break cravings for unhealthy foods? That's a good question that a lot of people have. The thing that I would say, because I look at life kind of differently than most people would, I would say you just have to be disciplined and you just have to get over the shit. If you like to eat candy and you like to eat cake and ice cream and fried chicken, like everybody does, I love to eat that stuff too, but I don't eat it. The thing is, you just have to be disciplined and not eat it. You just have to have willpower. But the problem with willpower is, like Tony Robbins likes to say, the problem with willpower is you have to think about it. Every time you see cake, you got to think, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to eat cake. And willpower is like a muscle. Eventually you run, it's like stamina. Nobody could just run and run and run for 20 days straight without stopping. Eventually your body's going to get tired. It needs to replenish itself. Willpower is the exact same way. You might resist cake on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then Thursday, you got cake in front of you. And that time, you're like, forget willpower. Or your willpower might be a little bit lower because you've been using it so much for the last 3 days. And then you eat the cake. So it's not as simple as that for everybody. So I understand that. Even though my blueprint is you just got to be strong enough mentally to get over it. Not everybody thinks that way. Not everybody is wired that way. So the way to get out of it, really what I would suggest you is you look up some Tony Robbins, because he actually talks about that. And I'm not even telling you got to buy his stuff, because I don't make no money from you buying his stuff. But if you you're on YouTube, look up some Tony Robbins where he talks about breaking addictions. And he actually has videos where he talks about that. Well, what you basically do, just in a nutshell, you should still look up the video so you get it from him and not from me, is you create new associations to things. Because if, for example, you have an association, let's say, how many of you know somebody who wants to work out but they never do it? Why? The reason they don't do it is because they associate some type of negative feeling to working out. Like there's some type of pain involved in working out. It takes too long, I gotta pay for the gym, I don't feel like it, I'm gonna be all sweaty, I'm gonna get tired, I don't know anybody in the gym, I'm gonna look stupid because I don't know what I'm doing. They link negativity to the gym. But then those of you who work out all the time, you look at it as positive. Like you waiting to go to the gym. You want to get out of doing everything else just so you can go work out. Why? Because it's positive. It makes me feel good. I feel like the dude I watch on TV. I feel like I'm getting closer to my dreams. I get to accomplish things. There are people who know me. I feel a sense of achievement. I get recognition from it. So it's just the way you associate things. We all have different associations to different things. So if you have a positive association to eating bad foods, you're going to keep doing it. So what you need to do is change that association to a negative association to the bad foods, and then you won't even want to eat them. You won't even think about eating them anymore because you consider it negative. And all human beings will do what they had to do to get away from negative feelings and get towards positive feelings. So you just need to change those associations. But again, hear it from that man, Tony Robbins. Don't hear it from me. Next question. What is the best drink to drink for muscle? What is the best drink to have for muscle recovery? My opinion, water. That's the best drink. Next, how much protein is enough? When should you take protein, before or after the workout? And what is the best before game meal in your opinion? So to answer the last question, there is no best before game meal. Again, you have to, first of all, what do you like to eat? Are you allergic to something? Are you vegan, you vegetarian, paleo, clean eating, whatever? First of all, you had to answer that. And even if you did answer that, which you didn't, I couldn't tell you anyway, there is no best meal. You eat what you like. Not everybody likes the same thing. Somebody might like pizza, but you might hate pizza. Somebody might like vegetables, you might hate vegetables. Somebody might like sandwiches, a certain type of sandwich, and you don't like it. I might like tuna, you don't eat fish. So there's no best meal. You figure out what works for you by experimenting. And his other question is, how much protein is enough? Well, there's really no such level as enough, because again, you're asking a question that will generalize for everybody. There is no enough. What I've heard in protein is that 1 gram per pound of body weight. So i.e. if you weigh 200 pounds, you should take in 200 grams of protein. But again, that might be for someone who's trying to put on muscle. Now, if you're trying to maintain, it might be a little bit less or a little bit more based on your situation, your age, your weight, your size, the sport you play, what muscle you're trying to put on, and why you're trying to put it on. You're trying to make yourself harder to move. You're trying to make yourself quicker. You're trying to make yourself more explosive. So it's not 1,000, but there are a lot of different variables that go into that. So there is no general answer that says this is the best amount for every single human being. And then he says, when should you take the protein, before or after the workout? I know people who are in great shape muscular-wise, basketball and non-basketball. Some take it before, some take it after, some take it both before and after. And I've read people who say taking it before is better and people who say taking it after is better. So again, a lot of this diet and nutrition stuff, you're gonna have to make some, what I call executive decisions. You're gonna have to look at all the information, make a decision and act on it. And if you need to make a change, once you see what the results are, then you make a change. There is no one right answer that's gonna stick for the rest of your life. Information changes and you can make changes. Next question. He says, if there's a player in high school who just finished his regular season, when that's over, he wants to hit the weight room, build a basketball body over the next couple of months. What diet should supplement his workout regimen? He plays the forward position, and then he says bodybuilding. I don't know what that is. All right, so I'm guessing this person is talking about himself. I don't know why he's talking about them in the third person, as if he's like incognito. But anyway, you want to hit the weight room and build a basketball body. All right, first of all, what is a basketball body? And I know, I have to say this again, I know a lot of people watch these videos where I'm answering questions, and sometimes people get frustrated and angry and upset when I say that you are asking me very general, broad, vague questions. There is no such thing as a basketball body. Y'all watch basketball. Do any two players have the exact same body? No. Do any two players look exactly the same? No. But are there players are there more than one good basketball player out there in the world? Yes. So there is no such thing as a basketball body. What kind of body do you want? You had to be specific as to what you want. And I talked about this in a motivational video. I talked about this on my website and the blogs. If you don't know what you want, these vague, how can I do this questions, you'll never get to where you want to go. Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? You're just going to be moving around aimlessly. So first of all, figure out what it is you want. When you say a basketball body, that means nothing. Throw that phrase out of the window and answer these questions. What do you want your body to look like? What do you want your body to do, and why do you want your body to do it? Once you know those questions, then we can reverse engineer that and figure out how we get you from where you are to where you want to be. But just saying you want a basketball body means nothing. Your body right now could be a basketball body. You just take a human being, put them on a basketball court and make them start playing. That's a body playing basketball. So there, you got a basketball body. Problem solved. So I know that's not what you're talking about. So you would have to be a whole lot more specific, but even then don't, because first of all, you have to answer that for yourself, and then you can get the program, Ultimate Athlete Position of Power. Those will get your body into basketball shape. Next question. Says, can you balance junk food and healthy food? Like, for example, eat Captain Crunch cereal in the morning, but only drink water and doing some jump program he mentioned. Will it affect my results? Can you balance junk and healthy food? Why do you need to eat junk food at all? Again, it's just a simple discipline. If you want to become the best athlete that you can be, all of you know what constitutes junk food and what's not junk food. You already know that. You don't need anybody to tell you that. You don't need to ask no questions. You don't need to watch no YouTube videos. You know. And if you want to act dumb like you don't know, then you go ahead and act dumb. In the end, when you don't get the results you want, you look in the mirror for the person to blame for that. But you know what's good for you and what's not. So can you balance them? Why do you need to balance? There is no balance. Either you're going to eat things that are going to help you, you're going to eat things that are going to hurt you. Every single thing you eat is either making you better or making you worse. So there is no balance. The next part of his question is, will it affect my results? Of course it will affect your results. If you eat something that's not helping your body, then it will affect your results negatively. And the problem is that a lot of people have is that they don't see the negative results immediately, so they think they're getting away with it, but you're not. It will catch up to you. Next. Says, I'm a 14-year-old freshman. I want to know which diet is best for losing body fat. Is there one, such as paleo or vegetarian, which is the best diet? If so, can you explain why? Well, no, there is no best diet. I've already explained that. So there is no one best diet. And again, these are not really diets, they're lifestyles, because a diet is temporary. And if you do something temporarily, all you're going to do is go right back to where you were after the temporary thing is over. So I know none of you want to do that. You want to make lasting changes that last forever. So you don't want to do anything that's a diet that's temporary. You want to do something that's permanent. Next, what supplements are best for what time of the season? I have no answer to that because there are no supplements best for any certain time of the season. Next, what are your thoughts on cheat days? I've already addressed this. I don't do cheat days. I don't have any cheat days or cheat meals. There are people who do have cheat days and it works for them. There are people who don't and that works for them. My thought is, I have two actual thoughts on this which are actually against each other. It's kind of a dichotomy. First of all, if you want to be completely healthy and eat foods that are going to completely help your body, why would you want to have a cheat day at all? Why cheat on anything? Why not just be faithful to it, faithful to the lifestyle and not ever cheat? And the second part is, of course, people want to have cheat days because willpower is hard. Willpower is a hard thing to keep up because you have to think about it. And willpower is a renewable resource. It means it goes up and down. How many of you ever feel very strong will, like I can do anything, nothing can stop me right now at some moments, but in other moments you're like, damn, you're doubting everything and you feel lethargic and you don't have any energy. It's the exact same thing. Our energies go up and down. Nobody is just completely perfect, rock solid, unstoppable mentally all day, every day. Nobody is. We all go up and down, and willpower is the exact same way. So I understand how cheat days work, but I also understand that if, like I said, if you're faithful to something, why would you have a cheat day? It's like you're in a relationship. Can you have a cheat day on your boyfriend or girlfriend? No. Either you in it or you're not in it. That's one way of looking at it, but at the same time, I get it. So me, if I want something in the moment, I'm just going to eat it. I don't really have to worry about cheat days and cheat meals or, oh, I can only have it on Wednesday. Like, I just eat it as I want it. But for the most part, I want to eat the things. I know when I'm having that cheat day, I know I'm putting something in my body that's making my body worse. So you have to accept that you're doing that when you put that in your body. And most of you already know that. All of you already know that inherently, but now it's being said directly to you. So now you're responsible for it. Next question. What are the best types of food to eat after practice or lifting weights to recover and rebuild muscle? Well, after you lifted weights, your body needs protein. So you need to put protein in your body. And then you can easily find lists of foods that have protein. Next. He says, I'm 230 pounds and 5 feet 8 tall. 5 feet 8 inches tall. I'm wondering what I need to do to get to about 165 for the size of a point guard, because I can handle the ball really well and I'm a shooter and a ball hawk on defense. All right, so you're 230, you want to get to 165. So you're looking to lose about 60 pounds off a 5'8" frame. Excuse me, that's a whole lot of weight to lose. Now that doesn't necessarily make you a point guard. Just because you weigh a certain amount of pounds, that doesn't make you a point guard. Just being a certain height does not make you a point guard. Being a point guard is based on your actual skill in the game of basketball. It has nothing to do with how much you weigh, how tall you are, how high you jump. It's about what you can do when the ball's in your hand on the court with 9 other people. So to answer your question, first of all, this will not make you a point guard. But if you want to get down to 165 pounds, the two things you need to do. Number one, you need to eat less food than you're eating now. So whatever amount you eat now regularly, you need to eat less, because the amount you've been eating had you at 230 pounds. So you need to eat less. And number two, you need to be more physically active. So whatever you're doing workout wise, you need to do more of it. Move your body more, which will burn more calories, and then eat less food. Next. So if you're trying to lose weight, so we got 4 questions remaining. If you're trying to lose weight, what are some foods to eat and what not to eat? Well, we've already addressed this, and I actually just answered in the last question. Next, how do you change your eating habits? Like, how do you manage your willpower stronger to not eat certain foods, stick to a healthy lifestyle? Again, something else I already addressed. Look up that Tony Robbins where he talks about changing your associations. Next, he says, I'm pretty skinny. I can't put any mass on me. Any advice on what and when I should eat? Well, it's not that you can't, it's just that you haven't done it. There's not anything that you absolutely can't do. You can put mass on you. What you need to do is eat more food than you're eating now. Now, whatever you need to do that, you do it, but you need to eat more than whatever you're eating now. So what you're eating now has you at the size that you are that you're not satisfied with. So you need to eat more. And the other thing you need to do is strength train so you can add some muscle mass. Last question says, can you tell us what you normally eat day by day in detail? So I've already done that. So that is it, everybody. That is the diet and nutrition. Next series. Next video in the series is done. This has been over an hour long. It's a long video. For those of you who have watched the whole thing, thanks for sticking with it. If you have further questions, you can leave them in the comments here. I don't think the next video is going to be a straight Q&A, kind of how I did this one. I'm just going to give information on the next one. I'm going to write down some things and share them all with you again. If you want more information, and I know a lot of you do, go to the diet and nutrition page on my website, dreallday.com, where I have a bunch of links to people who know a whole lot more than I do about this stuff. That's where you should get more information from, aside from what I'm just telling you. In the end, there are all differing opinions on almost every single thing you can eat. One thing that we all agree on, that everyone will agree on, is that water is the most healthy thing you can drink for yourself. I think most people will agree on that. All you know what a bad food is. All you know what good foods are. You know what they are. So don't act like you don't know. And if you want to act dumb to yourself, because it ain't affecting anybody else, because you're the one eating it. So if you want to act dumb, like you don't know what's bad and what's good, that's fine. But when it catches up to you, again, you're the one to blame for it. That's it. I don't think I got to say anything else. I've been talking for an hour. That's it. I'm done. Work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day. Work on your game.